Welcome back and thank you for staying with eNCA. If you've just joined us, this is All Angles and I'm Masahora Hlacha. Let's take you to one of our top stories for the week. In fact, various groups are protesting outside the Sandton Convention Centre. It's, of course, where the BRICS Summit is taking place. Let's go to reporter Heidi Giokos, who's on the ground, and she joins us now live for more details. Heidi, we saw people protesting yesterday, for instance, with regards to the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, but I understand that today people are protesting about various other issues. What are those?
Yes, certainly, Maseko. I just want to also emphasize the fact that we are at Innisfree Park here in Sandton, and this is because we do understand that police officials, including JMPD, have been instructed to move all protesters to this particular area, and this is where you are seeing a number of groups and countries coming out, expressing their differences in terms of why they disagree with BRICS, or trying to get the attention of various presidents and heads of state that are part of the BRICS bloc. We've seen Ukraine here, we've seen Bangladesh, we've seen Pakistan, we've even seen South Africans protesting with regards to what happened in Marikana years ago. So there are, of course, different various groupings, and I just want to introduce my guest, who's Zaki Mamdou, who is from Stop East Africa Crude Oil Pipeline. And this is a very significant and important conversation because it's about climate change, and something that a number of groups here have been discussing and trying to get the attention of the BRICS bloc and the BRICS Summit. Speak to us about why you are here and what exactly your message is.
So we are here fundamentally to say that the East African crude oil pipeline is a disaster. In simple terms, it is that. So this is a project that is being developed primarily by Total Energies, which is one of the main shareholders. But we'd like to emphasize the point that the Chinese state and various Chinese entities and companies are also centrally involved in this destructive project. What the project is, it is a plan to build what would be the world's longest heated crude oil pipeline through from northwestern Uganda to the coast of Tanzania. In the process and in its path stands hundreds of communities and tens of thousands of families who, even though the project hasn't been built and constructed yet, through the land acquisition process, they have lost their land, they have lost their livelihood, and all income generating streams. They have received compensation which is inadequate and unfair. And there are also numerous human rights violations surrounding this project beyond the environmental risk. Activists, CSOs and community-based organizations who have stood up in opposition to this project have faced repression of severe forms, various forms of violence, intimidation, threats, even having NGOs having their offices raided by proponents of the project, including the host countries themselves, the governments of Uganda and the governments of Tanzania. Now, the Chinese, although we have had a lot of attention on ECOP as it pertains to Total Energies and the Western entities that are, a big part of this developing this project, and rightfully so, we've had a lot of emphasis on them. But BRICS give us a good opportunity to expose the way in which the Chinese are also playing a central role. So what we have is the Chinese National Offshore Oil Corporation, which is a state-owned company which owns a major share in the pipeline itself, but also owns the Kingfisher oil drilling site. And that is a site where they will be seeking to exploit thousands of barrels of oil and extract them from the lake bed of Lake Albert, which is also an important water source. And siphon those into the pipeline and send them through to the coast of Tanga in Tanzania for exportation into international markets.
Okay, so there's obviously a lot that you obviously want to highlight, but I just want to go back to the issue of the fact that all protesters and all those that want the attention of the BRICS Summit have been moved to this particular area. Do you not feel as though this particular protest and dissatisfaction is in vain, given the fact that you have no leaders here, you have no government officials, you have nobody here actually listening to you? You've been moved to this particular park. Are you achieving anything by protesting?
Look, you raise a very good point. We completely reject the red zoning of Sandton and the way in which we've been confined to protest in what is essentially a cage, an outdoor cage. It's the same thing that they do at COP, where they have designated spots for activists to go and make their voices heard. However, we think there is still value in this just by virtue of the fact that I'm speaking to you, and we can raise consciousness and inform people across the world, but in South Africa as well, about the dangers of this project and others like it that the Chinese are also centrally involved in, is a victory for us, in that this is not the start or the end. Well, no, this is not the end. This is a part of the journey of our movement as we continue to build support and escalate activities against those who would come into Africa and extract and exploit natural wealth, but also destroy communities, destroy our prospects for sustainable and prosperous societies where communities have their agency and aspirations respected. And so regardless, it is important for us to be here. And just, look, we've had many climate justice organizations coming out raising many issues beyond just the East African crude oil pipeline itself. We know that the Chinese are centrally involved in the Cabo Delgado gas projects in Mozambique, in the mining activities in Madagascar, in the coal-related projects in Zimbabwe, and here in our own backyard in the Musina Mikado Special Economic Zone in Limpopo. And so these are what we are saying is that we cannot allow these emerging and rising global powers to adopt the same colonial extractivist model of the last 400 years and the kind of violence and dispossession that has been subjected onto Africans. Instead, what we want and what we are demanding is that a new model of partnership and development be adopted and committed to, and that is one of the simple and basic principles of justice, of equity, of transparency, sustainable solutions, and collective benefit. We are tired of the profiteering that comes with the fossil fuel industry and the destruction that comes with it as well. And we are saying we want renewable energy solutions that genuinely uplift and contribute to the development of our societies.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights. We really do appreciate it. So I wish I had more time because there's a lot to discuss. But I'm just going to ask you to just move over this side for me so that we can just actually give you a glimpse of what's going on here. My colleague Tami is going to show you that there are different groupings. We've seen people from East Nigeria as well coming through, and you are also seeing people from Ukraine, as I mentioned, Masejo, a group from that are protesting against what happened in Marikana. So there is a lot that is happening here. There was a larger group earlier on, but they seem to now be dispersing. And the point that I did raise with my guest is it's rather unfortunate because nobody's really here to receive any sort of memorandum or to hear the cries of the people that are on the ground and the people that have issues with the various countries that are part of the BRICS Summit. We even saw people protest against Prime Minister of India, Modi, indicating that they want him to go because of what's currently happening in India. So there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of people coming out to raise their concerns and their issues.
All right, Heidi Giokos out for us in Sandton, particularly at Innisfree Park. Thank you. Let's leave it there for now.